Good morning. Good morning, everybody. It's another beautiful day in the crypto bull market. We got lots to cover, folks. We'll give a few minutes for people to come on in. Crypto Rafi, great to have you. Good morning. We got Marcus in the house. That's the only thing I can read off your username there. Great to have you. Good morning. Good morning, Sunlight. Adam Cobb, welcome in. Great to have you guys. It's exciting times, folks. Exciting times. This is what we've been waiting for. This is, many of us have been patient and it's hard to be patient sometimes, right? But your patience will be rewarded, folks. Liquidity is hitting the crypto market like a ton of bricks in a good way. Good morning, Etron. Great to have you. Cryptocurrency news guy. How are you? L from Indonesia. Great to have you. I know it's nighttime for you. Great, good night on your end. True Heart. Good morning. Chris, good night from where you're at. Let's see. We got Shared Advanced Title and the Carpet Deep Cleaning Services LLC. Welcome in. Pompey, great to have you. RJM1, great to have you. The Garois, if I'm saying that right, I apologize if I'm butchering that. Welcome in. TW, good morning. Kroll Bro says, hey, Tony, finally, I catch you from the beginning. Good to see you. Yeah, thank you, Kroll. Appreciate you joining. C. Kemp, let's effing go. Yes, for sure. Hector from New York, welcome in, Hector. You're not far from me right now. Dewey's Droid, welcome in. Let's see, we got here. Sunlight says, please let us know when you're going to take profit. Yeah, absolutely, I will, Sunlight. Ben says, Tony, we going for Bentley or Lambo? Soon, brother. Well, on my end, it's paying off some debt, definitely putting some money into retirement, right? Because I want to retire as early as possible, helping out some family, and of course, spending some, right? I definitely want to spend some. I don't think I'm going to get a Lambo or anything. I'm going to try to see what other ways I can enjoy, maybe go on some nice vacations, right? Heinrich, great to have you. Heinrich, I'm glad you didn't give up. I'm glad you stuck around. You're listening from X and watching from X. Thank you for sticking around, my friend. David, good morning. Twinspired, great to have you. Chris says, why does everyone say Bitcoin goes parabolic compared to... Well, Chris, these coins move in phases. So as we've often talked about here on the podcast, is Bitcoin leads the market. It goes, really strong first, but then you have the other coins go parabolic. XRP will have its turn, XLM, HBAR. Remember, the liquidity comes from Bitcoin, right? So you have to keep that in the back of your mind. Matthew, your 15 minutes break. Great to have you, man. Peng, great to have you. Eddie Lands, thank you for joining. It's just great to see all of you guys. It's another beautiful day in the crypto market. On your way in, please hit that thumbs up button. Hit that thumbs up button. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the heart button wherever you're watching and listening. Luca from Sicily. Amazing. We have someone from Italy here from Sicily. Luca, I went on my honeymoon. I went to Italy. I didn't make it to Sicily, but I went to Venice, Rome, Florence, Pompeii, and Capri. Ended in Capri. Let's see here. Armando. Yeah, I'll let you guys know where I'm taking profits. We'll cover that. Mix222. Great to have you, man. Sun's Moon. Great to have you. Leron. Good to have you. All right, guys, let's kick it off. Thank you all for joining. Another beautiful day in the crypto bull market. This is why for a long time, I've been preaching, if you want to call it that, patience, right? It's so important to be patient in this market because markets move in cycles. And I've often stated that the hard part for many of us is the patience game, to go through the volatility, but it pays off because markets move in cycles, and we're going to talk about what's happening. So, guys, last night, Bitcoin went crazy, going parabolic. It touched $123,000. Right now, it's cooling down. Nothing moves in a straight line. right? But when you look at all the respective signals, and let me start with the daily chart, you see that things are still on track. Now, something that we need to pay attention to is that Bitcoin on the daily is heading into the overbought zone. It doesn't mean we're going to see an immediate pullback or correction, but this is something to keep in mind, that we're going to see maybe a local top here, right? And then, continue into Q3. So just keep that in mind, right? Because the markets, they move with sentiment and then in a cyclical pattern. So just like we saw in Q4, Bitcoin went into the overbought zone, its RSI, and then it had to correct and go into the oversold zone. Now, it can hang out in the overbought zone for a week or two, right? It can get overheated and then correct. So just keep that in mind, that this move is most likely a local top, if not the blow-off top. We'll have to keep watching it closely. If you look at Bitcoin from the higher time frame, which is the weekly chart, it shows there's still some room here for upside, but it's also heading near the overbought zone. The good thing, the MACD shows the bulls are in full control. You can see the MACD rising here. The green bars here are rising. So bulls are in complete control. This is the fun times, the exciting times, right? So very good sign. Now, using like an Elliott wave chart analysis, potentially Bitcoin's next local top, the local top I was just talking about before it gets overheated and has to pull back, it could potentially run to 127 to 130, 131K, that range, right? I don't know what the exact number is going to be, but you can see I posted it here, between 127 to 132K. Obviously, we're hoping for higher, because what happens? Rotational liquidity. It starts moving down to Bitcoin, to all your favorite altcoins, your XRP, Ethereum, Solana, and much more. And you're going to see a lot of the altcoins start to wake up. So, for example, you look at XRP's chart, just as an example here, that's a beautiful chart. That's what you want to see for your altcoins, right? Following Bitcoin, showing life, back above the 200-day moving average. And you can see here, XRP is heading into the overbought zone. It's starting to get overheated. So it may follow Bitcoin, go up to maybe $4. I don't know. I'm just throwing out some numbers here, and then pull back, right? So this is where you have to keep in the back of your mind, this could be a local top move, just like we saw in Q4. It can stay up here for a couple of weeks or days and then correct. But it's all cyclical, right? You have these peaks and valleys. If you zoom out on the chart, it's all peaks and valleys. And this is why you want to use indicators like the RSI and the MACD to get an idea what's happening. If we look at Ethereum's chart, same thing, right? Starting to show a lot of strength, moving, but also approaching the overbought zone on the daily. So let's jump to, let's say, Solana. Solana not showing as much strength. It is moving, but it'll have its day in the sun. All of these coins eventually, get their what is it? Every dog has its day, right? That's the same thing applies here. Now look at HBAR. That is exactly what we're seeing for Ethereum and XRP. Very strong moves, right? So we still got ways to go, but you can see the moves that are happening here. And remember, it moves in cycles, right? You're going to see the peaks and valleys. You're going to see higher highs and higher lows. So as we've been talking about, what validates this move is these signals we've seen historically and in these runs, and that is Bitcoin dominance falling, where Bitcoin starts to pump, but then the altcoins start to follow. You have actual liquidity hitting the altcoins. So this is a very positive sign. Tether dominance, this is the stablecoin liquidity entering the market, also breaking down. Very, very good sign. Confirmation of the bull market. So we're not just looking at these rallies and say, oh yeah, it's bull market, right? Without validating the move. How do we validate it? We look at these different signals and metrics. So I hope you appreciate that. Now, I know many of you are going to be excited about this. Total 3. This is the total market cap, excluding Bitcoin, Ethereum, and stablecoins. So we don't muddy the waters, because Bitcoin carries a lot of the market cap, the total market cap, right? And so does Ethereum. Look at this. Beautiful breakout here above the 200-day moving average, climbing. So you're going to start to see this reflect amongst many different altcoins. And I know there is probably some altcoins that haven't woken up yet. Like, for example, if you look at VeChain, I'm a VeChain token holder. It hasn't really woken up yet. It will. the liquidity will start, flowing down from Bitcoin. It'll start going through the large caps, the mid caps, and the small caps. I covered this in a newsletter recently. Let me see if I can pull it up here for you guys. Let's see, did I put it in this chart? Just for those of you who may not know what I'm talking about here. Let's see. Okay, it might be in this post. Again, subscribe to my newsletter, guys, because I have all this information in here. So here it is. Look at this chart. From the fiat currency into Bitcoin, then it starts rotating down to the large, mid caps, small caps. And then this is usually how the market makers and the whales operate. So that's why we're highlighting this, so you know what's happening. I don't make the rules. I'm not saying I want it this way, but this is just how it is. So we have to accept reality, right? So that is what's taking place, folks. Let me pull up the chart I had before that I wanted to show you guys. So once again, subscribe to my newsletter, guys. It's 100% free. It's on Substack. And like I said, liquidity will start hitting some of these other altcoins. Just be patient. Now, the other macro thesis or factor that we've been seeing that's happening globally, and that's feeding into the economies and markets and driving asset prices higher. So that's why you're seeing the stock market hit new all-time highs, crypto hitting new all-time highs, the real estate market, even the collectibles market. So global liquidity right now is showing a move up to November and a bit of a cool down. However, it could spike again and keep going higher. But as of right now, as of today, we're seeing it is topping out right there, and Bitcoin's following. So this is why we need to watch this closely, and it will impact the altcoins that many of you hold. So you have to start with this foundation. Think about building a house. You need to have a good foundation, right? This is the base layer of that house, of that global liquidity leads all assets, and risk assets are following it. So you can see here that Bitcoin's following, and potentially here it's saying that the next, what Marty, who put together this chart, is saying that around 125 could be a local top, but maybe global liquidity overshoot it. Going back to the Elliott wave analysis I shared, where Bitcoin's next move is up to between 127 to 130K, right? No one can call the exact top here, but sometimes Bitcoin can overshoot it. But we want it to go as high as possible, because that means more liquidity will flow to the altcoins. So expect kind of a local top-ish, here. Pullback, of course, healthy. Then the continuation into the fall. And that could, certainly take us to higher prices. So I hope you understand what's happening here and why we're looking at this. Now, something else that was highlighted is that China just printed another 700 billion in liquidity. So you're going to see, more liquidity probably coming into the market. Maybe global liquidity will spike again. We'll have to wait and see, but this is the data we have as of right now. Now, the other factor I've been sharing with you guys, on-chain data from Sentiment shows Bitcoin whales with 10 or more Bitcoin in their wallets continue to accumulate. So they're not dumping, they're not exiting the market as of right now. But when they start exiting, I will be on here saying, guys, whales are dumping. You need to make sure that you have a plan if you are taking profits, because that's a red flag. Here, coins on exchanges, which have been dumping significantly, and let's see if I can zoom out a bit more. The coins have been going down on the exchanges. That's a good sign. That's a positive sign. When they start moving back on the exchanges, that's a bad sign. That means the coins are going back for people to exit the market. That coincides with this chart of accumulation and the coins leaving the market, and then the vice versa, the coins moving back on the exchanges for distribution. So things to keep in mind. As I've highlighted in my newsletter, the total crypto market cap using Elliott wave shows we still got ways to go here, right? So this is the move, the macro move to the blow off top. This is the blow off top year, in my opinion. Its history is on the side of this information. You're going to see a lot of people come up with narratives, feelings, emotions. This time is different. We have ETFs. You don't know that. It could. I'm not ruling it out, but the probability, the higher probability, because we're not dealing with certainties here, the higher probability goes on the side of market cycles and history. And this goes back to hundreds of years of markets, right? So just keep that in mind, guys, and how this all plays out. And an example of that, just look at what happened in the big correction that took place in February and April and March, April. People already forgot about that. It's like the blinders are put on. They don't realize there are factors that can be thrown into the mix, a monkey wrench thrown into the system that could pull back markets, right? Even though you may think ETFs, crypto reserves, US Bitcoin reserve, markets all move in cycles. Just look at what happened with the .com boom. There were a lot of people coming out in the 90s. This thing is going to keep going up. The internet's going to be the biggest thing ever. It's going to rule our lives. We're going to use it for commerce. Those things were true, but the market still had to have a big crash, right? It all moves in cycles. So you have to make sure you balance narratives, feelings, and emotions with data. I hope you appreciate what I'm telling you here, because I had to learn this, and I learned it from people smarter than me, macro investors. So definitely understand what's happening here, folks. So markets, I believe, will go to a blow off top. Now, one could say the correction may not be as bad as we've seen historically. I'm talking 70, 80%. That is a possibility. Maybe it just drops 50%. But it's up to you what you want to do. I can't tell you what to do with your money. Personally, I am taking profits. I am already taking profits on Bitcoin. I have not taken profits on altcoins because I'm still waiting for higher prices on altcoins. I've been on the record saying that at 120K, I'm starting to take some profits. I'm not cashing out everything. My goal is to ladder out at specific price points. So 120K, I have already taken some profits on Bitcoin. At 130K, I'll be doing that again, and so on and so forth. Now, when it comes to XRP and these other coins, I have a target of about $5 that I'll be taking profits on XRP, and then continue to take profits as we go higher. Same thing with Ethereum. So that's my strategy. You do what's best for you. Some of you may not need to exit the market because you don't need the cash. I want to do some things with the cash. Like I said before, I want to pay off some debt. I want to spend a bit. I want to throw some into the traditional retirement accounts because I have that as well. And I just want to balance things out, if you know what I mean. And then, like I've said, I'm going to be taking some of the profits and buying the blood on the streets again. 2027, just like I did in late 2022, just like I did in late 2018 into 2019. So rinse and repeat. And that's the approach I'm taking. So folks, hit that thumbs up button for new all-time highs. Hit that thumbs up button that we make some really great returns this bull market cycle. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't as yet. Hit the heart button wherever you're watching and listening. Folks, check out our sponsors, Uphold. This is a great place to buy and sell crypto and stay crypto. They're fully reserved. Great hardware wallet company, Trezor. They make beautiful devices. I'm a user of the Trezor Safe 5. Use the code ThinkingCrypto, all one word, to get 5% off. ThinkingCrypto, all one word, to get 5% off. I'm a user of the device. They support all the major coins. Check out Proppy. They're leading the charge of putting real estate on chain. I'm a Proppy token holder. I have been since 2018. This is a really major project. If you see the direction tokenization is going in and real estate is going to be tokenized, Proppy is leading the charge there. Also check out VeChain. Also been holding VeChain, the VET token, since 2018. They're working with many big companies around the world to build Web3 technology. They're partnered with Dana White and the UFC as well, doing some really cool things. And like I said before, guys, check out my newsletter, 100% free. Link will be in the description. So folks, let me look at the comment section here before we continue. Let's see here. It looks like some people are Michael M, thank you for being a channel member. I appreciate you. Juice, let's see here. XP Market, thank you for being a channel member. I appreciate you as well. Michael M, just be careful, right? Because there's no guarantees with how high the price can go. No one can call the exact top. Now it's up to you, right? It's your decision and based on your financial needs. But if you are planning to take profits, the best way to do it, the smart way, is to ladder out at specific price points. Just keep that in mind. Juicy says, what percentage when you take profits? So I have, I can't pull it up here because you know what I mean? I don't want to share that type of details with you guys. I have a detailed spreadsheet with everything that's in there. For Bitcoin, I took about 20% of my holdings, the profits there. Chris, awesome. Great to hear that you took some profits as well. Ross Hutton says fart coin will rule the world. Oh man, these meme coins, man, they're crazy. Jiro says it will dip for sure, but not as drastically, and then we go up we go. Well, Jiro, keep in mind, my friend, the Fed liquidity cycle. Okay, remember, this all moves with the macro and global liquidity. It doesn't move by itself. That's why at the beginning here I said precious metals up, the stock market is hitting new all-time highs, right? The dollar is down. So you have to look at all of these things together, because crypto is not moving on its own. Please understand that. It's so important to understand that. And there's strong narratives out there. Oh, this time is different. Crypto legislation is here. Doesn't matter. The liquidity doesn't come from crypto legislation. It comes from the central banks and what their printing activity. Their narratives follow the price, right? So to just keep that in mind. Gas fee says, still wondering what that massive move from early wallets was. OTC from anonymous early whales. I'm not sure. Are you talking about Bitcoin whales? Thanks, Cream Elixir Studios. Great to have you. So Juicy, your question about, the percentage. So I'm laddering out. So I'll do, let's say 20%, 30%, so on and so forth. I am exiting all my altcoins, all of them, in full transparency. And then some Bitcoin I'm leaving. I've mentioned that on a podcast. That's on a hardware wallet in safe storage. That is going to my daughter, if that makes sense. Because Bitcoin, at its valuation, it's going to be harder to buy Bitcoin, right? In addition, the scarcity aspect. So I'm holding some Bitcoin that I'm not selling. Some of it I'm selling, obviously, and then I'm exiting all my altcoins. And then, like I said, taking some profits and buying the bloody bear market when that comes around. So Clayton, something to keep in mind. Institutions want to make money. They're in this trade, right? That's why you see outflows of ETFs. They don't want to sit on an asset and watch it drop. They're going to readjust their portfolios. They're here to make money too. XP Market, thank you for the membership. Thank you for being a member for 25 months. Appreciate it. Chris K says 100K XRP will be life-changing in a few weeks. I hope you mean the volume of tokens, not the price, because there's not going to be 100K per XRP, but I think you meant the volume of tokens, right? Yeah, having 100K in XRP, it's going to be amazing, guys. Amazing. This is an exciting time where a lot of people are going to make money. Guys, I posted it in my newsletter, some tips, because some of you could hit life-changing money. And there's something called sudden wealth syndrome. Check it out in my newsletter, where you want to mentally prepare for that. How are you using the money? Let's say you make $1 million in this market, right? Keep in mind, you have to pay taxes. You don't want to fool around with that, obviously. But also the money after the taxes, don't go spend it all on a Lambo, right? I think you want to do the smart thing of making sure you eliminate debt that, maybe that could free up and give you financial freedom. Obviously, you do some lifestyle spending, and you want to make sure you build your nest egg, right, for retirement. That is important, because opportunities like these don't come along very often. So we have to take advantage of it. Now, I'm not a financial advisor. Obviously, talk to your financial advisor. I'm just saying, what if you go the wisdom route, use some wisdom, right? This is kind of what you want to do, but to each your own, do what you got to do, my friend. Mikhail, great to see you. Thank you for joining. Armand Singh says ETH target. Let's see here. Let's pull up the ETH chart. Oh, wait, I have it up in here. So for ETH, if it has the run like it just saw in the last bull market, going up to the 3.618, that puts ETH near 15K. Now, let's be a bit more conservative. I'm personally looking at a 10 to 12K. 10 to 12K. And that would just be above the 2.618. Now, this bull market gets crazy. The staking gets added to the ETH ETFs, and there's tons of inflows. We could see that move to the 3.618. No guarantees, of course, right? But that's what I'm looking at. Now, Armand, I'm going to start cashing out profits on ETH, though, starting at around 7K-ish, and then 8, and then 9, 10, right? Ladder my way out because I don't know what the top is going to be. So just something to keep in mind. Backpack Lad, thank you. It says, hi, Tony. I've been following you and listening for a while now. You're a godsend. Thank you for all the news and info you provided. The interviews are great, too. Thank you, Backpack. I'm happy to have helped, and hopefully, I contributed to helping you make some nice money, some nice returns, right? There will be signs. Well, Elizabeth Warren, just so you know, this little old grandma she's not crazy about crypto. She's getting lobbied by Jamie Dimon and the banks to go against it. That's why she has this like hard on for crypto, right? She's so like against it. That's why one would think like the country has so many other things going on. Like the Democrats lost big time in the elections, and part of it was due to Elizabeth Warren going against crypto. And she's still doing this because she doesn't care. She's getting checks from the banks. That's why you saw her and Jamie Dimon do that hearing last year, right? Or was it late December 2023 to go against crypto? She revealed her cards right there. That's the game. It's not that she's, this grandma cares so much about crypto. She doesn't. She's just getting a check. Yeah, Jiru, be careful. There's going to be a lot of people pumping crazy price points. Look, they do it for Bitcoin. They do it for Ethereum. They'll do it for XRP. This is where you have to balance narratives and what people are saying and sentiment and emotions with data, right? You got to go back to the charts and the on-chain data and much more, guys. Okay, there were also... Oh, wait. Let's see what we got here. Mace ETH says, thank you for the donation, my friend. Appreciate it. Says, Tony, did you see ZK Sync partnerships? Deutsche Bank, Grayscale, Microsoft. I'm the biggest fan of zero knowledge and Ethereum. Yeah, so Macy, zero knowledge proof, right? That technology is going to be adopted by a lot of blockchains. And obviously ETH is a leader there because we've seen a lot of building there because the future of adoption needs zero knowledge proof. Because why? Because if you're on public blockchains, a lot of information is out there. It's public, right? You can view a lot of transactions, but zero knowledge proof is the layer that helps protect that. It'll help protect institutional and certain individual data, because obviously you don't want that information out there, right? Banks and big institutions are not going to want their proprietary information out there. So ZK is definitely going to be an important technology. And I'm trying to learn more about it because, again, the move is no longer to private blockchains, but to public blockchains. So this technology is going to be very, very important. West Norton. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Jiru. Yeah, I would have. Please don't believe that $10,000 per coin. That is crazy talk. Kroll Bro says, "Hey Tony, would you recommend move XRP to a trust? Do you mean for like long-term storage, like I mean, you could, it just make sure you use a proper institution that's safe, right? And the proper safeguards are there where you control some of the keys. Like, for example, Uphold, one of my sponsors, they have a vault system, and the vault system, you control part of the keys and they control part of the keys, so that if anybody loses a key, there's a backup, right? But nothing can be moved without all three keys, if you know what I mean. So these are the things to take into consideration. By the way, guys, check out my course, mycryptocourse.com. This is a great way to learn about crypto. Comprehensive course if you want to learn more about all these different things. We were just talking about ZK and different types of things happening in the market, so check it out. Okay, there was also some news that I wanted to highlight. So with Bitcoin's move, I mean, this is surreal. Bitcoin has surpassed Amazon as far as market cap. Again, surreal, right? And it is on the rise. And here, Neil Jacobs highlighted that it could pass, wait, let's see. Oh, it could surpass Apple at $159,000. I think that happens this year. It's incredible. I mean, talk about the change in times. This is a paradigm shift. And you see gold holding that top position. Peter Schiff and all these gold bugs are scared as hell. But look, they're going to coexist, gold and Bitcoin. So, you know, you can certainly hold both in your portfolio. Now, Michael Saylor and the folks at Strategy, they revealed that they bought more Bitcoin, about 4,225 at around $111,827 per Bitcoin. So incredible stuff here. Now, many of you know this week is crypto week. We could get stablecoin legislation passed in the House, and then it goes straight to President Trump for signatures. That could be a huge narrative, and it's going to open up a ton more liquidity, I believe, for the crypto market, because banks and many institutions can launch their stable coins, and they will have to back it with U.S. Treasuries. Of course, their reserves will have to be backed by U.S. Treasuries. Here, Stuart Alderati, chief legal officer at Ripple, said, as Congress works on historic crypto legislation this week, the stakes couldn't be higher. 55 million Americans now own crypto, and 3 in 4 say we need smart, clear laws. These bills are designed to protect the everyday Americans who own and use digital assets. The National Crypto Association will continue to be a trusted resource, educating and demystifying crypto as the landscape evolves. So this is a very big week, folks. And, you know, the Genius Act, once again, that stablecoin bill getting passed could be a huge catalyst because it goes straight to the president. The Clarity Act, once that passes, it goes to the Senate. And the anti-CBDC will also go to the Senate. Now, the Clarity Act, as David Sachs, White House crypto czar, had said, that will be reviewed and voted on in the Senate come September. So this is why I'm thinking this move right now, if we align it with the charts, is a local top, right? A local top for Bitcoin, pullback, healthy pullback, late August into September. Then late September, it starts running again. You have the narrative that crypto market structure is going to get passed. And that takes us into the blow off top in November, you know, around that time, because look, global liquidity is telling us the direction. And then you have these news catalysts aligning with the timeline. So not guaranteed. Yeah, I don't have a crystal ball, but I'm sharing actual facts and how these things could play out, right? The fact that when the votes are going to happen, where global liquidities are at, that's not disputable. So let's see what happens, folks. Things are real. The stage is being set here for an epic bull run to new all-time highs. All right, let's see what else we got here in the comment section. Josh Clark says, just finished your book, Tony. Awesome. I'm very bullish on HBAR and have a price target at $1.46. Do you think that is unrealistic? Thank you so much, Josh, for buying the book. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Let's look at the HBAR chart here. Okay, so HBAR, like I said earlier, looking very strong. We got to move up here, right? Looking very strong, just like Ethereum, just like XRP, following Bitcoin's larger move. So with a Fibonacci model put on here, if this goes to just the 2.618, 146 is a very doable price point. I want to make sure I give you the caveat, no guarantees. We don't have a crystal ball. But if it's showing strength, if it has a strong narrative behind it already, and it is not far from its old all-time high from a percentage standpoint. It means there's not a ton of money needed to carry it higher. So I hold HBAR. I'm bullish, and I'm looking forward to a dollar plus HBAR. If we can get to even $1.50, or even if it goes to the 3.618, maybe near $2, that would be incredible. Some really nice returns there. So this is where, folks, have that plan. Okay, we don't know where HBAR is going to top out at, but you got to start taking profits on the way up. So I'll be taking profits at like, let's see, once we break the around like maybe 80, 90 cents, right? Then it goes to maybe $1.20, so on and so forth. You ladder out because you just don't know what the top is. Now, the other thing that I use to track kind of the timeline of the bull market is the Pi cycle top indicator. And this is a very macro chart here where the 111-day moving average, when it touches and even crosses sometimes the 350-day moving average, that signals the top. It has worked to a T in the past bull markets. So I highlighted in yesterday's podcast, we're starting to see the curvature here. It's starting to move up with Bitcoin's price. So as it gets closer to the 2-moving average, started getting closer and closer, that's where I'm going to reassess what's happening with altcoins. How much time do we have left, right? And obviously, I'll be sharing that information with you guys on the live stream, on the podcast, in the newsletter. So make sure you subscribe and you got the notification bells enabled. The newsletter is also just a great place, guys. You can, whenever, at any point, go pull it up, right? And just look through all of this stuff and just look at it in detail and pull up the images and read through the details here. So that's why I'm recommending you guys sign up. It's free. You don't have to pay anything. And you can, if at any point you're just like, man, I'm kind of confused. Where are we at? What's happening? You can go back to this, and I update it weekly. So you get the latest information here and what's happening, what I'm thinking about, in addition to the, the video content and the live streams and so forth. Let's see, Solana here. Wait, this is the weekly chart. Okay. So Solana should start waking up soon. It was a big time leader amongst altcoins, in 2023 into 2024, and it cooled off a bit because I think XRP kind of took that mantle of being the strong lead for the altcoins. But like I said, every dog has its day in this bull market, as far as the top altcoins. So we're going to see it pop off at some point. Selva says, Binance prevented me to send my crypto to my 10-gem wallet. So, Selva, you got to contact support and see, make sure you're fully KYC'd and all that stuff. I don't know if you're in the United States or outside the United States, but U.S. citizens can't use Binance.com. They can use Binance US. Flips and Fines. This is a great point, Flips. He says, this will be the last bull run to make good money before it gets fully regulated. So what's at play here is the law of diminishing returns, right? You're not going to get the same type of returns as the market matures and more liquidity comes in. And to Flip's point, when legislation is in place, banks and all these big institutions will flood the market like they did with gold, like they do with stocks, right? And then you don't have the same level of volatility. It doesn't mean you won't see gains, but the gains we've seen in 2017 and 2020 and even this cycle, I don't think we're going to see the same level. But there's still money to be made, because one of the cool things here is that this asset class is truly global. It brings in liquidity globally versus how the stock market operates. Only certain regions can access it. So it doesn't get liquidity globally. But that's why there's a big move by Robinhood and BlackRock to try to tokenize the stocks so that they can experience the same type of liquidity from global markets as crypto tokens experience, right? So that's what the big fight was about, why they were trying to stop this market. Market is a massive disruption to the status quo and how things have run for the past, 50 years or more, right? Drew says, my sleeper pick is Hedera. There is certainly a good coin to hold, and I'm not saying that biasly. Just look at the chart, right? I hold the token, but you gotta look at the charts. JS says, Tony, after about 8 to 12 months after the ETFs have been approved and legislation, do you think we could see an XRP price? So JS, I'm going to have to lean at the market cycles. So here's the thing. All of these markets are following global liquidity, and the liquidity cycle runs in 4-year increments. Why? You have elections and you see injection of liquidity. And that is the macro thesis. And shout out to Raoul Pal, who helped me to learn about that, because historically people thought it was a Bitcoin halving. But then you look at the stock market, it also runs in 4-year increments, right? As far as bottoms and tops. So it's all following global liquidity. So I'm going to have to lean to the 4-year cycle that maybe, to your point, the next cycle we could see numbers like that. We could, I'm not saying it's guaranteed. It would all depend on what we hit this cycle. So something to keep in mind. Yeah, absolutely, guys. I think once Trump signs that stablecoin bill, and again, I know people get caught up in politics. This is not about loving or hating Trump. It's just a simple fact of whoever is the president, they sign a crypto legislation bill into law. It's bullish as hell, right? Because many of us are here to make money. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Macy. Okay, I'll definitely check Anthony Rose, formerly CERN and SpaceX, to talk about. Okay, I'll check it out. Yeah, guys, the Pump.Fund folks had an ICO over the weekend, and it sold out very quickly. I've said before, I'm not a fan of meme coins, and I don't know how this ICO plays out. Meme coins are very risky, tons of volatility. So just keep that in mind. You really have to be careful, but I can't tell you not to invest, right? You got to each his own, just understand the risk. Michael M, are you talking about it's so for the Fibonacci, it's the 1.618, then up to the 2.618, and then the 3.618. Again, you don't want to just use this, but it gives you an approximation. A lot of people use Elliott Wave as well, so something to keep in mind. Kroll Bro says, what do you think? How far are we from tax-free crypto capital gain? That's a great question. I don't know. At this point, it's highly speculative as to if this will get done. Because here's the thing. Could there be reduced capital gains taxes? I think that's possible. Will they eliminate capital gain taxes? I don't think so. The other markets, the stock people in the stock market, people in real estate, people in gold, they're not going to like that. I don't think that's going to, that's going to happen. You know what I mean? The likelihood of that. Hey, shout out to XRP Market, gifted 5 Thinking Crypto memberships. Thank you, XRP Market. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for the support, my friend, and being a member. Luke Dubois says, Bitcoin is up 15% in the last 30 days. Not parabolic at all in my book. Sure, going through all-time highs, great, but the cycle top is getting close. Yeah, for sure. I mean, well, the move is parabolic, I think you got to say. When you have this straight line up green candle, that's pretty nice. Wizard says, last bull run was the best bull run. No more 20+ days for Bitcoin. Wizard, I think that's coming. I honestly think that's coming. I think the liquidity cycles here, legislation is a very strong catalyst, and you got institutions, and they're going to pour in a lot of money. But remember, they're looking to make money, so they're going to exit the market too when the blow off top hits. So something to keep in mind. Yeah, absolutely, Josh. Happy to help. Thank you so much for your support, my friend. Wizard, yeah, absolutely. Look, the volatility could certainly be reduced, but remember, the foundational thesis here you need to keep in mind. Markets move in cycles and they follow liquidity. So while there may be less volatility, so let's say, crypto may start moving like the stock market, less 70 to 80% crashes. There's still volatility. History is not on your side if you think volatility will be over, right? That is, you have to be financially educated to just go look through all these markets. The markets have been around longer than you have, than all of us, right? So just keep that in mind. History is not on your side if you think volatility is going away. Nah, bro says Sui will explode any minute. Yeah, Sui, I do hold Sui in my portfolio. That coin is getting a lot of VC backing for sure. Let's see here. Wait, is that the market cap? Yes. Okay, I'm looking for Sui USD here. Okay, let's use Coinbase. Yeah, look at that. Sui is on the run here. Very good sign here, folks. I mean, that's bullish right there, right? We could see a $7 to $8 Sui this cycle, possibly higher. Like I said, a lot of VC liquidity backing this thing. Has a strong narrative. Yeah, we could see 7 to 8, guys. Possibly higher, but looking good. Vatican says, Tony, your thoughts on Pepe will take over SHIB. Vatican, I don't invest in meme coins. I'm not hating against him, but I don't really follow them. So maybe Pepe can, but I honestly, I'm not giving you a solid, educated answer. Dayton Plum says, thoughts on Cardano. So I have some Cardano in my portfolio. I think Cardano being in like the top 10 and so forth can do great this bull market. It needs to show more strength though. It has been seeing some growth, but compared to HBAR, compared to XRP and Ethereum, it's not showing a lot of strength, and it has a lot more work to do. However, with that said, I do believe it can run because of its visibility in the total market cap. Let's see, where is it at right now? It's number 10. So it's a legacy coin that has a visibility, it has a community. It's in the top 10. So liquidity is going to hit it. How high it goes, I don't know. Maybe if it, let's say the 1618 puts it around $5. Higher than that, 2.618 around 7. Could we see that? Yeah, possibly, but we'll just have to wait and see. The other thing is, remember, there usually needs to be kind of a narrative to bring in retail. I haven't seen strong narratives this time around for Cardano. Maybe there will be, right? I'm not saying there won't ever be. Sometimes people get triggered when I say things like that, but I'm just being realistic. As of right now, I haven't seen a strong narrative. Like there's been strong narratives around XRP, ETH, Solana, HBAR, and so forth. So maybe like some people will file for Cardano ETFs, and that could be a big narrative. So let's see. But you can see here it has work to do compared to HBAR, which is showing lots of strength, compared to XRP, which is showing tons of strength, compared to Ethereum, showing lots of strength, right? Higher on the Fibonacci model here. So just some things to keep in mind. Chris says, I stay away from meme coins at all times. I agree with that sentiment, but look, like I said, I am not hating against you if you participate with meme coins. Just know the risk. It's like going to the casino, right? You could lose your money. You can make money, but you could lose all your money. You lose your shirt very quick, if you know what I mean. Folks, check out our sponsors. Please support me that way. Uphold, great platform to buy and sell your crypto and stake your crypto. They have over 300 plus cryptocurrencies on their platform. You can stake over 20 crypto assets. They have a great rewards program as well. Check them out. Check out Trezor. They make beautiful hardware wallets and make it easy to store your crypto. I'm a user of the device. I use the Trezor Safe 5, the one that's in the video here. They support Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, all your top altcoins. They were the pioneers of crypto hardware wallets. They started doing this in 2013. use the code Thinking Crypto, all one word, Thinking Crypto, to get 5% off. Check out Proppy. They're leading the charge of putting real estate on chain. We know tokenization is the future of finance. As Larry Fink said, real estate will be tokenized. You can buy and sell real estate on Proppy, and I'm a Proppy token holder. I have been since 2018, so I'm a believer in this project. Also, I'm a believer in VeChain. I've also been holding this token since 2018. They're partnered with many big brands around the globe, such as Givenchy, Walmart China, BMW, Boston Consulting Group. They're also partnered with the folks at the UFC, Dana White. Dana White just bought like $1 million in the VET token. So I'm bullish on this project, and I think it's going to do well this bull market. So check it out. All the links will be in the description. Sign up for my free email newsletter, 100% free. Check out my course at mycryptocourse.com. And you can also check out my book on Amazon, folks. So, folks, this is the exciting times. As always, markets move in cycles. So note there will be pullbacks as we continue to go higher. And like I said earlier, Bitcoin potentially local top here between 127 to 132. And then alts are going to follow, obviously, right? And then I think it pulls back. Then I think it continues in Q3 into Q4, where we have the ultimate blow off top. And that will coincide with the crypto market structure bill being passed in the Senate. This week, I think we most likely get the Stablecoin Genius Act getting passed in the House. It goes straight to President Trump. So you can see how the timing coincides with these market movements, right? So keep these things in the back of your mind. And as highlighted, global liquidity being the leading indicator here shows a potential top in November. We'll have to keep monitoring global liquidity if it keeps going up, and it shows that there's more upside in this market. So those are the foundational things to keep in your mind, even if you're not a Bitcoin holder, you just hold altcoins, because altcoins follow Bitcoin. .007 Lexus says, will TA matter when XRP truly utility kick in? Please be careful with narratives. Narratives follow price. There are people who are going to tell you all types of outlandish narratives. What I would say is history is not on your side if you think markets don't move in cycles. There's no asset, there's no big company, whether it's Google or Amazon or whoever you are, Tesla, that doesn't get affected by market cycles. They all follow global liquidity. So watch out for the people saying, oh, this utility, that's going to matter. It's like they're throwing history, they're throwing finance, they're throwing liquidity, they're throwing market sentiment out the window. Be careful, okay? Just balance it all out. Do I believe utility will impact XRP's price? Of course. But all assets are at the mercy of liquidity and market cycles and the sentiment cycle. And just an example of that, right? Zoom out on XRP's chart. What do you see? Volatility, cyclical patterns, corrections, right? So please be careful. There are people who are uneducated about these things, and they make up nice stories. It sounds amazing. It sounds great. You got to look at the full picture, right? Hey, Dayton, I covered Cardano already. I don't know if you missed that, but you can go back. Does Sui have a lot of unlocks? That's a great question. You would have to probably go to the site and check out the tokenomics. Well, let's see if there's anything on here in CoinMarketCap. So let's see. Total supply is 10 billion. Max supply is 10 billion. Circulating supply is 3.45 billion. So you can assume there are token unlocks coming. And here there's a section actually about this. Let's see. Does it give you the schedule though? Early contributors. Yeah, there's definitely going to be unlocks, but this is not uncommon. So let's say towards December 20. Yeah, there's not a huge unlock. You know, it's going to go from 3.45 to 3.73 billion. So not anything crazy. And the current, yeah, not a big gain. So this is actually good. But you can see over time, there's going to be more and more unlocked. Pedro says, hey, Tony, big fan. Could you do a mini TA on Wormhole? Been losing hope, but since they seem to have recently partnered with XRP and Algo, I was wondering if you guys come out of that. I don't know much about Wormhole, to be honest, Pedro, but let me see what I can do here. Let's see, US dollar, Coinbase. Is it this coin? Wormhole. This is something recently launched. It's hard to do TA on it because it recently launched, if you know what I mean. Let's see. Let me make sure I get the right, if that's the right coin ticker symbol. Okay, so there's Wormhole here. There's Wormhole.finance. So which one is it? Maybe it's this one. So this coin was just launched last year, it looks like. Yeah, it's kind of hard to do TA on it without the history. You know what I mean? There are people who are much better at this with these coins that have recently launched and things like that. So yeah, kind of hard to do some stuff here. But I think, Pedro, the thing you want to keep in mind is that where we're at in the bull market cycle, liquidity should start hitting the coin and it should start performing. How high it goes, I don't know, you know, because I can't really chart it right now. So I covered ADA already. Doge, I covered ADA already, so I'm not going to go over that one. But let's look at Doge. Again, I don't hold Dogecoin. I'm not a fan of meme coins. If I was to invest in a meme coin, it would be Doge because it has the history on its side. It has the community, the brand. It has that mass penetration. You know what I mean? You had guys like Elon who really pumped it, of course. So Doge in Q4 did pretty good, guys. I mean, look at that. It hit its old all-time high of near, 50 cents. And it pulled back, obviously, like the other coins, but we're seeing some life here. It's about to break over the 200-day moving average. That's a good sign. And it's in the top 10. I mean, this meme coin has staying power, man. It is number 8. So it's going to get visibility. It always runs because once again, the brand and all that stuff, right? So if Doge is to continue to move, it maybe gets to $1 or higher, guys. I can't say it's impossible. No guarantees, but I've seen Doge run and it's pretty incredible how it's able to run, man. And look, even if it just gets to $1, that's a massive win for a meme coin like this with this crazy supply of tokens that it has, right? So look, I'm calling it, right? I could be wrong. $1 Doge, possibly higher. CRO, that's the crypto.com token. I don't hold this, but I know it's very popular among different folks. Let's extend this out of here. Okay, so it's down significantly, right? It's pretty far from its all-time high. So it needs a lot of liquidity to get up there. Now, it may not get to its all-time high, but it can get to maybe halfway there. I'm just guessing, right? Because these exchange coins are very hard to read sometimes. Now, could they do what Binance does, burn some tokens, and that helps? You know, certainly. But you can see here, it's down significantly. But your entry price also matters. If you didn't buy the top last time and you bought the bloody bear market, if this thing rallies to, let's say, 70 cents, man, you're making a nice return, right? So it's all about entry price as well, even if the coin doesn't break the old all-time high. So that's why you want to be buying the blood, fear, and depression, because it puts you in a position to make money. It increases your probability because if this coin, hell, if it even just goes to 50 cents, you're making money, right? Inactive account says, what about WorldCoin and Filecoin? You know, Filecoin, man, it's down bad. Let's take a look here. No hate, but this is a nasty nasty chart. This is what you don't want to see if you're holding a coin. That is a ugly, ugly chart. This coin was trading near $240. It is down at $2.50. Again, you never want to see this for a coin you're holding. However, with that said, as long as you didn't buy tops in the last cycle and you bought the bloody bear market in the dumps and this thing rallies to even 20, 25 bucks, you're making money, right? So it depends on your entry price, but the probability of this thing touching any type of all-time high, or let alone breaking that, low probability. There's a chance, but a very low probability, if you know what I mean. That is a nasty chart, man. WorldCoin, I don't hold this coin, but I honestly think it could do well. There's so much big narratives and adoption around it. It could do well. And you can see here that it's still in its infancy, early stages. And I think recently they had gotten a big investment from a VC, if I'm not mistaken. But this coin could go to $3 or higher. Now I say could, right? Potentially, not guaranteeing. But it has a huge narrative. And, you know, with Sam Altman, AI, and they do have a big network globally where they're going around, people are scanning their retinas and getting free coins. You know, that can really help. So we'll see. But honestly, it could honestly break $3 and go a bit higher. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate that. Heinrich says, hey, Tony, what do you think about ARB? So I think that's Arbitrum, right? Arbitrum just got some big news. Robinhood is building on Arbitrum. I mean, that's huge adoption news. Okay, let's take a look here. What's happening here? Okay, so this coin rallied in Q4. You can see here it followed the rest of the market. That's a good sign. It is down significantly right now. So if you're an ARB Arbitrum token holder, you want to see more strength. Kind of what we're seeing with HBAR, XRP, Ethereum, right? But like I said, we still got some time where liquidity can start sloshing around to these different coins and they start waking up. But it is not far from its all-time high. What do I mean by that? It's at 40 cents and the all-time high is about $2.38, right? So not far off compared to what we just looked at with Filecoin. So from a percentage gain standpoint, it could easily, I think, go back to the old all-time high and break that, because there's not that big disparity, if you get what I'm saying. So Arbitrum, I think the Robinhood news definitely helps. Let's see how it does, you know, as the market continues. Lawrence, crypto week, absolutely. Big week. We talked a lot about it, of course. Senator bark a lot? I'm not sure who you're talking about. AOC simp. Warriors Code says, guys, don't be shocked if this cycle truly is different and we're entering a super cycle. Warriors Code, just be careful. Like I said earlier, narratives are one thing. You better balance that narrative with the markets. Remember, crypto doesn't move on its own. It moves with global liquidity, the stock market, precious metals, real estate. And the stock market has been around longer than crypto. It still experiences volatility. Now, one could argue the volatility will be less for crypto because of all the things that are happening with more liquidity coming in. But again, watch out for those narratives. People telling you it will never end. Super cycle, it goes up forever. It doesn't go up forever. Now, if you're looking at a 20 to 30 year time frame, sure, the chart looks very bullish. But when you are in the midst of monthly and weekly and even yearly, you will experience dips. So just be careful. Armando says, best exchange to sell my crypto. I know some exchanges go down. Yeah, so Armando, one of the things I've talked about for many years is set up accounts with every exchange as possible and do full KYC and verification. So Uphold is one. Coinbase, Kraken, Crypto.com. I have accounts with all of those, including Gemini as well. So if anything happens, I'm able to move coins to different exchanges. Folks, we're going to wrap it up soon. It's been over an hour. So I will continue to do these live streams to give you the updates on what's happening. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, hit the like button, hit the heart button, hit the subscribe button. Guys, check out our sponsors, Uphold, Trezor, Proppy, VeChain, all the links in the description. Subscribe to my free email newsletter, 100% free on Substack. Also, check out my course at mycryptocourse.com. This is a comprehensive course that teaches you every aspect about crypto. You get expert commentary. You will learn from people actually investing and building in the industry. Someone asked about Flare. I'll wrap it up on Flare. I'm bullish on Flare. I hold the token. I'm currently delegating, and I'm hoping that this thing pops off, guys, and does really well. So Flare, good sign in Q4. It rallied with the market. So I'm expecting it to start rallying soon with as things heat up in the bull market, right? The rotation of liquidity takes place. But its old all-time high of 56, I think we can easily break that, because you can see we're not far from it, right? The percentage gain wise, this is not Filecoin like I showed you guys earlier. So man, I would love a $1 flare, or even just an 80-cent flare. That'd be amazing. We need Guns N' Roses token. I'm a big Guns N' Roses fan, so yeah. Well, you know, the market we're heading to, you're going to see a lot of brands and people and different artists and so forth create their tokens. But I think legislation needs to be put into place to make sure we don't have rug pulls and crazy crap happening, right? But I think that's the future, the token economy, which I've been telling you guys for years. The token economy, tokens are going to be the way things are going to function. And you're going to get tokens from games, your favorite brands, and much more. It's going to be amazing. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in. I am wishing you all the best of luck in this bull market, that you make incredible returns, guys. And, you know, make sure you have a plan if you're planning to take profits, right? Don't get caught off guard. And like I said in my newsletter, right? Have a plan how you're going to use that money. Don't get hit with sudden wealth syndrome. Even if you're making hundreds of thousands, maybe millions. I don't know. Some of you might hit millions. Some of you just hundreds of thousands. Doesn't matter. Have a plan. Know what you're doing. Prepare for taxes and all that stuff, right, guys? And I'll catch you in the next one. Thank you, guys.